Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Look, man, I just did a video, kind of give you all the background on Wilder, Usyk, and why Wilder's in the position that he's in right now as far as being blackballed. But understand this, Usyk no longer wants the Deontay Wilder fight. And I do feel that the Fury controversy ruined Wilder's reputation. Not his whole reputation, because there are a lot of us who believe what Deontay Wilder has said. When it comes to Fury, we believe there's some truth to it, but we just need him to go ahead and give us the facts. Stop talking about this documentary. Give us the facts. But we all know about the rumors circulating about Deontay Wilder and Usyk, and I just really felt that it was inevitable. Here it is. We're going to finally get, I think, a fight that was overdue but needed in the heavyweight division, which is Wilder against Usyk, just like I think Wilder and AJ need to fight. But now that appears unlikely, and for obvious reasons. Usyk, he's decided to shift towards the winner of Dubois Wardley. He's fighting in Egypt. And then after he gets those two fights out the way, if he wins, then he's looking to have another showdown with Tyson Fury and make it a trilogy. But then you look at Deontay Wilder, man, we were all excited. Everyone's talking about Wilder again. Usyk called him out. I was like, man, here we go. But then Wilder's reputation, man, everyone's really heavily debating over whether his accusations about Fury cheating in those fights, they're just debating them, okay? They're not. People don't know what to think. But I do think that controversy has hurt Wilder. I think people had kind of moved on beyond it because he really wasn't talking about it. But when he started to breathe life back into that conversation, and especially the rant he went on over there on Talk Sport, it just really, I think Usyk became uninterested in facing Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? Usyk is an honorable guy. And I think Usyk, remember, he went through the bullshit with Dubois, with the low blow. Now, of course, I think Dubois knocked him out with a body shot. Usyk doesn't like body shots. I'm not making that up. You go look at the videos, I think, out there. I did one. But there's videos out there about Usyk. Look, Usyk is a different kind of species when it comes to boxing. But the body shot by Dubois, I think that was legit. But anyway, Usyk went through that controversy, people saying that he sold the body shot as a low blow, and as a result, he was able to recover out there in Poland a whole lot of time to get himself together, and he came, and Dubois was kind of, had checked out mentally because he's like, damn, I was robbed of a knockout, and then Usyk was able to knock him out with a jab. But long story short, I think Usyk is looking at what Wilder's doing. He's like, shit, he's doing the Fury, kind of what I went through with Dubois, and I don't respect that. So let's just try to understand the fight that once made sense, okay? Because Usyk and Wilder was one of the most intriguing potential matchups in boxing, and it's because the styles are different. You take a look at Oleksandr Usyk and what he brings to the table, what Wilder brings to the table. You're talking about Usyk. There's Usyk, Lomachenko, Crawford. You just see something different with those guys, man. Usyk's retired, Crawford's retired, but Usyk's still going strong. He's like he's going to retire sooner or later. But there's something special about those guys when they get in the ring. Elite technicians, masters of footwork, high boxing IQ, undisputed championships, at least for Crawford and for Usyk, cruiserweight, heavyweight twice. Going to probably become a 3-time undisputed at heavyweight if he gets the fight with the winner of Dubois and Wardley, And then just at heavyweight, you can see that Usyk can almost do what the hell he wants. It kind of reminds you of like Mayweather. Mayweather, no kidding. I feel Mayweather could have gone up probably to 168 with his talent and won and become undisputed. Some would say, "Now you're crazy." Now I think Floyd had that kind of skill where he could box and move and avoid getting hit and score points and land and win round after round. But the bottom line is, Floyd just had he was cut from that same kind of cloth, like you see with a guy like Usyk. Special. Now with Wilder, we all know about the punch. I don't see how people hate on him. The man could crack, knock people out cold. I don't care if you put a tomato can in front of anybody. If you can't knock people out cold, you're not going to knock a tomato can out cold. You can hit them, you can hurt them. But you got to have something special about your hands. And this shit about Wilder having the titanium and all, have the metal place, and he has the platinum in his hand and in the bionic hand. Get out of here with that bullshit. That don't have nothing to do with nothing. You know what I mean? The man can crack. Okay? But I think that knockout power that Wilder, I think he has. He just doesn't pull the trigger like he was able to do before because of what Tyson Fury did to him in them fights. I think Wilder lost. I know he lost his confidence because he said he lost his confidence. You know what I'm saying? He went through a lot personally and professionally. But the matchup would have been classic. Precision versus power. But the fight has lost the momentum, you know. Wilder, the Fury stuff, being with Malik Scott. People blame Malik Scott about Wilder not performing, you know, at an optimal level. But Wilder came out and said it wasn't Malik Scott, it was him. But the shit in Wilder's personal life, I think it affected him more than what happened with him against Tyson Fury. That's just my opinion. But he's still dangerous. But he's no longer the unstoppable knockout king. And that is the reality of Deontay Wilder. Dangerous, but no longer the unstoppable knockout king. But then you take a look at Usyk. Usyk, he's achieved something historic, hasn't he? And he's still out here on a mission, man. Man beat everybody. And it's the way he moved up to heavyweight and started doing the business. Chisora was a tough fight for him, but everyone else, he did the business. AJ wasn't an easy fight, but he definitely was able to up it in every round and go on and get the decision. And he wobbled AJ, fought Fury, hurt the shit out of Fury. But in both fights, competitive, but Usyk was able to up it. So those wins have elevated Usyk for all-time best as far as heavyweight discussions. Remember, I'm not saying he's the best ever. I'm just saying it's elevated those discussions, right? But with his career right now, you can see his priorities have shifted. I think Usyk is kind of conflicted with, do I just have fun and do what I want? Or do I still go out here, man, and chase legacy fights? Should I be worried about undisputed status or should I not? Should I be looking for global events? Or should I just be out here chasing that Wu-Tang cream, cha-ching, ching, dollar bill, yo? I'll tell you this. For Deontay Wilder and Usyk, the controversy with Wilder and the Fury fights, I think that's what's really hurt him. Because people don't want to hear about Fury cheating. They don't want to hear about the gloves being manipulated. And they don't want to hear about any other unusual circumstances. A lot of fans strongly disagree with everything Wilder says, and the claims have created division amongst the boxing audiences. And I know that because when I do the videos, I can see it in the comments. And when I go live and talk about it, the chat goes goddamn berserk. But with Wilder in his image, him coming out talking about Tyson Fury, I think that's affected his credibility. Now, I'm telling you I think there was some foul play. I'm telling you I do. But I did research, and I come up with enough stuff to make me say from where there's smoke, there's goddamn fire. And I believe that 100%. You know what I'm saying? But Wilder deeply believes in his version of events. But no one cares about that because him talking about his version of the events has damaged the public's perception of him. And remember, I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong here. I'm just having a conversation. But as far as Usyk, he's looking for different opportunities now. I think that sucks, man, because he's fighting in Egypt, which is cool, no problem. But after that, you know, he got done with the Middle East and the North African markets. We figured he was going to be going after Wilder. That's what he said. But all of a sudden, it's changed. Now, I don't know if it's because he's going to get a massive purse from fighting out there in Egypt, getting the global attention, the historic setting, and he wants to just keep the momentum going back, becoming a three-time undisputed. I don't know. But him deciding not to fight Wilder and going after the winner of Wardley Dubois, that's unusual because both of those guys, he already beat Dubois. I'd say Dubois probably shitting himself. Like, damn, you tell me if I beat Wardley, I got to fight this guy Usyk again? But for Wardley, I think it's a more interesting fight for Usyk. But the bottom line, these are rising contenders, dangerous punchers, young guys. I think they're more of a threat than Wilder. I do. But I just think this Fury rematch that he's talking about after those guys, I'm like, yeah, there's money there. Financially, it's enormous. It's huge globally. But this thing about Usyk not fighting Wilder, he is not afraid of Wilder. People, y'all got to stop that. Just like I don't think Wilder's afraid of Usyk. But I do think Usyk is looking at Wilder and everything that he has going on around him, and I think Usyk's like, I don't want to deal with the bullcrap. Stop the excuses, man. The black man and the white man and the oppression and all that. I think the secret society, they don't really understand where Wilder's coming from. Wilder's from the South, man. There's a lot of things he experienced most people wouldn't experience. I didn't grow up in the South. I have lived all around. I'm international, baby. But I tell you, I have lived in the South. And I was stationed at several bases in the South. I went to leadership schools in the South. And I can tell you, I've talked stories of my lives about some of that shit. The South is different. The leadership schools I went to, they were in Alabama, Tennessee, McGee, Tyson, Tennessee, Alabama, and I was out there and I went up to Mississippi. That wasn't for a leadership school. I was at Mississippi. But that Alabama, Tennessee, talk about backwards, boy. Backwards ass people. I can only imagine how it was for Wilder growing up as a young man out there. But the thing is, most people ain't gonna understand the way that man feels. You have to go out there and feel it. The energy is different, man. But enough of that bullshit. I'll just say this. Usyk, I think he doesn't want to be caught up in that bullshit. I don't think his team, I don't think the decision makers, I just think Wilder coming out there and talk sport and blowing up the way he did, turned people off. And those are the people who are going to be behind making these fights. And I think they don't want nothing to do with Wilder. I don't think Wilder will ever get another title opportunity, man. You know? But even so, they may be saving Wilder from himself because Usyk, man, elite heavyweight, Olympic gold medalist, undefeated, movement, ring IQ, stamina, adaptability, power, southpaw. When you get tired, he works harder. Usyk is a handful, man, especially for a guy like Wilder who may not have all of his confidence back. So that's why when I think about it, I give him an advantage over Wilder, and I think Wilder maybe he should be maybe thanking people that he's not getting that fight, because who knows what Usyk would have done to him if Wilder goes into a fight with Usyk without the confidence that he once had, and he's just chasing a payday. Because what Wilder went through with Parker touched him up a little bit. Fury, we all know what happened in those fights, especially that third fight. And then with Zhang, that shit was brutal. Messing around with a guy like Usyk, who is a very nice guy outside the ring, mean as shit inside the ring. Who knows what Usyk would have done if he would have hit Wilder with some of them hard shots. Who knows what would have happened to Wilder? Because Wilder's punch resistance isn't the same. You know what I'm saying? But Wilder would still make for an interesting opponent. He's just an interesting person. You know? It's just people don't understand him and get him when he starts talking about the racial stuff, man. But he's had setbacks. But one thing people still, you just never know. When you have the kind of knockout power like what he has shown, any fight he gets in, man, one punch can change everything. People are sitting there kind of just waiting to see what happens. It's almost like Clarissa Shields and Shadesha Green. Shadesha Green has that kind of power. So no matter what fight she gets in, people are kind of like, for women's boxing, like, yo, when is she going to land? Is she going to land? That's kind of how Wilder is when it comes to what he does as a male, and him facing a guy like Usyk. Usyk is dominant. Clarissa Shields is dominant. But if he gets there with someone who's a knockout puncher, you just don't know if it's going to happen or not. But I'll tell you what, fans are still intrigued about it, and they'll still watch it. Technical mastery against explosive power. That's how they're going to coin the fight. But as far as legacy, can Wilder land on Oleksandr Usyk? I don't know. And I'll tell you what, we're not going to get that opportunity. I don't think Usyk will ever fight him, man. I just wish he would come out and say why he chose to not talk about Wilder anymore. You know what I'm saying? Some people say because Wilder's a boogeyman and Wilder's a risk. I don't think so. I expect the common thinker to give that kind of explanation. I think it has more to do with all the bullshit and drama. That's what I think. Remember, I don't think no one's right or wrong. I'm just having a conversation. But one thing for sure, when it comes to footwork, who got better footwork? Usyk or Wilder? Let's be for real. Who's got better IQ? Who's got better conditioning? Who's got better defense? I mean, when you just look at this, I mean, this is like all bad for Wilder. Who got better power? Wilder. Who's been showing their power in every fight and been consistent? Usyk. So again, you can almost check every box green for Usyk as far as the advantages. Wilder's all red. And I'm just being real, man. But as far as Wilder's career going forward, I don't know. I really don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Usyk seems to be focused on other things, and I think there's a reason for the redirection. I do. I really do. But I tell you what, heavyweight fights that seem impossible today can become massive events tomorrow, and I think that's what we saw with Usyk and Wilder. But I think what's happened is how a Usyk-Wilder fight that seemed impossible, that became possible and got us all excited, it's become impossible again. And I think Wilder has to look at himself to blame for the rants he went on. And I think that made people very uncomfortable. And when people get uncomfortable, they tend to just not want to deal with the bullshit. And I think that's what's happened. They just moved away from Wilder. So if they were to make the fight, I think it would still sell as a blockbuster. It'd probably have even more momentum than when they first started talking about it, because of Wilder, the right hand, the drama, the racial element to it, the drama and speculation about Tyson Fury cheated. You know, all of that comes into play. All of that comes into play. You know what I'm saying? It's like normally you get sex, money, murder, and even sex comes into it, because Wilder, they talk about his relationship and the ups and downs of his personal life with the woman and the stuff she came out saying about him. Then everything comes. So no kidding, Wilder and Usyk, that should be a sex, money, murder thing, because everything it all ties in. Nobody died, but you could basically, people, if you listen to Wilder, he believes that maybe that they were definitely trying to kill him. So you got sex, money, murder in that Usyk and Wilder fight, and then you throw Tyson Fury element in. You know what I'm saying? It all comes together and makes for a damn good fight buildup, doesn't it? But the reality is we may not get the fight, so it is what it is. Anyway, y'all keep cool. In the breeze.